Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Thursday, April 15. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amitha Sharma in for Maya Tribulsi. A major milestone in the effort to end the pandemic. Today, millions of Californians are now eligible to book vaccination appointments if they can find them. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman explains.
Now all Californians 16 and over are eligible for vaccinations, no questions asked.
We are looking forward to getting more vaccines in more arms for one fundamental reason: it saves lives.
Governor Newsom says half of Californians over 16 have now been vaccinated, and while demand for shots continues to be high, supply is not keeping up.
The challenge is that this state has designed a system where we can administer 6 million doses, but this week we're only receiving 1.9 million.
San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria got his vaccination shot this morning inside the gym at Balboa Park. Easy. And Board of Supervisors Chair Nathan Fletcher got one at the VA San Diego. He understands there is some hesitancy still, but is encouraging people to get vaccinated.
And that you have to trust the doctors, and you have to trust the medical experts, and you have to trust all the safety protocols that went into doing this, and recognize when you get a vaccine, it's not just for yourself, it's for your family. It's for everyone around you.
Health officials say they need 75% of county residents 16 and over vaccinated to achieve herd immunity. Right now, 60% of eligible San Diegans have gotten at least one dose, while nearly 40% are fully vaccinated.
The impact that the vaccines have made is unbelievable. I mean, we were going this way, and we are coming round just like that.
Rady Children's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Gail Knight, chairs the county's COVID-19 Vaccination Advisory Group. She says the expansion of eligibility is critical in our goal to getting to herd immunity.
I fully expect that we're going to have enough vaccine to get everyone vaccinated that wants to have a vaccine, and that may take over the next month or two, several months, but we're going to get there.
Appointments may be hard to find, and officials are asking for patience, also reminding people that the pandemic is still here and deaths and hospitalizations are still growing.
The biggest mistake in this country that's being perpetuated are people that are just giving up and not requiring these face coverings and just assuming that mission somehow is accomplished. It's not.
The state is rolling out an updated version of myturn.ca.gov, where there are now more than 200 providers and 1,500 clinics taking appointments, and people can now get both text and email alerts reminding them of upcoming shots. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Young adults and teenagers now eligible for the vaccine were lined up today at National City's weekly vaccine clinic. KPBS reporter Alexander Ranhal was there.
It's an opportunity that I couldn't miss. So I brought my cousins here, my brother, my mom is here as well.
A family affair for 20-year-old Brandon Reyes, who says his family had a tough battle with COVID-19 back in December. Reyes was one of many young faces that could be seen waiting in line outside of National City's weekly vaccination clinic. With vaccine eligibility expanding in California for people 16 years of age and older, Thursday's line was longer than usual. National City Mayor Alejandra Sotelo Solis says it's a reflection of the high demand still needed for vaccines in National City.
This is about access and no appointment, walk up, make your way in.
Wife and mother of two, Carla Navas says National City's high infection rate has been a huge concern.
We wanted to make sure that as soon as we could get it, we're here.
Navas' daughter, Jessica Felix, a 20-year-old engineering student at San Diego State University, says because of the vaccine, she now feels ready to return to campus.
If my parents didn't have it either, I would feel like I will probably infect them or something. I wouldn't feel secure coming back home.
Felix says she's lucky to be one of the 300 people to get vaccinated at the clinic.
Originally, 500 people were actually supposed to be vaccinated, but 200 of their vaccines were Johnson & Johnson, and because of the current pause, those vaccines could not be distributed.
But despite the small road bump, Mayor Sotelo Solis says the city's goal to have 48,000 people vaccinated by June is still on track.
At the rate we're going, we're going to get there and we're going to exceed that goal.
Alexandra Rangel, KPBS News.
A reminder, we have more information about how and where to get your shot at kpbs.org. Just go to our homepage and then click on the Vaccines tab. San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria today released his first budget proposal, totaling $4.6 billion in spending for the coming fiscal year. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says federal stimulus funds are sparing the city from major cuts.
Gloria plans on spreading out the aid included in President Biden's American Rescue Plan over the next 2 fiscal years, since the economic recovery will likely take at least that long. There are cuts in the mayor's budget, but he says they could have been much worse.
Without the over $300 million that President Biden, Vice President Harris, and the Congress has sent to cities like ours, we'd be in a position of decimating neighborhood services, of laying off city employees, of asking folks to take pay cuts, asking them to take pay cuts after they have spent the last year doing what it takes to knock down this pandemic.
Libraries shuttered at the onset of the pandemic would reopen, but only for 5 days a week, staying closed on Sundays and Mondays. That would save the city $6.9 million. Gloria also proposes cutting the police overtime budget by $4 million, which he says he'll reinvest in community programs to prevent gang violence and the city's new independent police oversight commission.
The commission will hold bad actors accountable and provide the public with increased transparency on police disciplinary actions. And by working closely with the police department, we are reimagining policing in San Diego to focus more on stopping crime before it starts.
Homelessness is often cited as the #1 concern among San Diegans. Gloria proposes consolidating the city's homeless services into a new department and spending $10 million on crisis intervention and housing strategies. Over the next month, the city council will review each department's budget, leading up to a final vote in mid-June. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
A North San Diego Catholic school apologized after members of its football team circulated racist photos directed at Lincoln High School. KPBS education reporter Joe Hong explains how the school's administration is addressing racist behavior among its students.
A photo shared on social media in the past week by a football player at Cathedral Catholic High School in Carmel Valley depicted someone wearing a t-shirt that read Catholics versus convicts. Another showed several players mimicking gang signs with their hands. The photos targeted Lincoln High School in southeast San Diego, Cathedral's opponent in football last Friday. Officials from both the school and the San Diego Diocese condemned the behavior.
We're accountable, and we need to do something about this, and we will.
Kevin Eckery is the spokesman for the San Diego Diocese.
This is something that has to get addressed in really open and sincere and authentic dialogue. I mean, there's nothing here that's unique. Go ask someone of color every day. And there's nothing here that was particularly unusual. The unusual thing is that we're able to flag it and condemn it and hopefully do something about it.
Cathedral Catholic issued an apology to the entire Lincoln High School community. San Diego Unified School Board President Richard Barrera said this racist incident is unfortunately nothing new for Lincoln High School.
We appreciate the apology, but we've also, the early comments that we've seen, focus on the inappropriate actions of students, which of course we agree with, but there also has to be some examination, at the institutional level of what kind of culture, makes some students feel like this is an okay thing to do.
Barrera said Lincoln High School has invited Cathedral Catholic students to the campus to discuss the racist behavior. Barrera says he hopes the silver lining from this incident is that the greater San Diego community learns about how accomplished Lincoln High School students are, both on the field and in the classroom. Joe Hong, KPBS News.
New video shows a 2-year-old child being dropped from an 18-foot border wall in Imperial Beach. The child's father caught him below. Soon after, Border Patrol agents took them and several other people into custody for entering the U.S. illegally. The incident happened Sunday night and was captured on remote video surveillance. The child was not injured when dropped into the dad's arms. We're told both are from Ghana. Some Democrats are frustrated with President Biden for not increasing the annual cap on refugees entering the U.S. In February, Biden promised an 8-fold increase of refugee acceptance above the limit set by the Trump administration. But until he signs off on the increase, thousands of people expecting to arrive in the U.S. are in limbo.
The president remains committed to raising the refugee cap, and I can assure anyone who has concerns that that remains the case.
The White House press secretary said last week that Biden was committed to raising the refugee ceiling to 62,500 this fiscal year, but she didn't provide a timeline. To compare, Trump allowed 15,000 refugees. All eyes on Minneapolis, Minnesota, as 2 former police officers appear in court. Today, the defense rested in the trial of Derek Chauvin, who is charged with murder in George Floyd's death. Nearby, Kim Potter appeared in court for the first time following the shooting death of Daunte Wright. Camila Bernal has the latest.
Your Honor, at this time, the defense rests.
Testimony concluding in the murder trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, without the defendant taking the stand.
I will invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege today.
In rebuttal, prosecutors recalling expert pulmonologist Dr. Martin Tobin, attempting to refute a theory presented without evidence by a defense witness that George Floyd could have died from carbon monoxide poisoning.
As to the statement that his carboxyhemoglobin could have increased by 10 to 18%, in your view, that's not possible.
It's simply wrong.
Both sides resting, and the judge preparing the jury for what's ahead.
Next step for you is to listen to closing arguments and then retire for deliberations.
But as the trial of one former officer nears the end, legal proceedings against another are just beginning. Former Brooklyn Center police officer Kim Potter making her first court appearance via Zoom as she faces a second-degree manslaughter charge in the death of 20-year-old Daunte Wright. Officers were trying to take Wright into custody Sunday during a traffic stop. In police body cam video, Potter shouts, "Taser," repeatedly before firing her gun instead. The Minneapolis area on edge as the justice process plays out. Camila Bernal, KPBS News.
The county will pay San Diego State University $140,000 to conduct a review of its COVID-19 hotel sheltering program. The Board of Supervisors requested the review 8 days after an iNewsSource investigation uncovered problems at the main isolation hotel, the Crown Plaza in Mission Valley. Guests and employees there said the program is mismanaged. People don't get medication on time, toddlers went days without adequate food, and security guards harass people staying there under a public health order. In Oceanside, the area where a row of tents used to be is now covered with piles of rocks. City crews bulldozed large rocks along South Oceanside Boulevard Wednesday morning to prevent homeless encampments from forming again. A nearby restaurant owner says she hopes the cleanup will bring business back to her restaurant.
All that area where they camped was a truck stop for truck drivers that used to come eat at my restaurant. After they made their camp, the truck drivers stopped coming.
The rocks were put out one day after dozens of tents and people were cleared out and offered motel vouchers. A couple of tents remain as there were not enough vouchers for everyone. A local photographer is showcasing portraits and stories of people experiencing homelessness in Oceanside. KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne gives us a look at the stories from the street expo.
Homelessness in Oceanside is at the center of a debate as a large encampment is being cleared out. Now a local photographer is holding an expo to share portraits and stories of people living on the streets in North County.
And I wanted to do it as a project to challenge people's implicit bias. A lot of times there's a lot of false ideas and stereotypes about people on the street, and I wanted to challenge those ideas.
Photographer Jordan Verdin is also the founder of Humanity Showers. His portraits feature several homeless people in North County, some who lived in the Oceanside homeless encampment.
For them to take control of their story, because instead of it saying like, I wonder what that person is or what they've gone through, now it's like you see their photo, their story, and then there's some people here that they're in here and that you can meet and connect with them and hear your story directly from them.
Kathleen Alphonse, known as Mama Cat, is one of the portraits featured.
The picture is about 6 months ago, and now I'm no longer there. Now I'm in a better place, you know, where I can shower when I want to, and I sleep in a bed.
Alphonse says the expo gives people who are experiencing homelessness a platform to tell their story.
They think that we're all drug addicts and criminals, and we're not. We're average taxpayers just like you.
The expo is open from now until April 20th at the Oceanside Hill Street Country Club from noon to 8 p.m. Oscarina Ortega, with lived experiences, helped organize the event and says this expo is open to all.
Come in, have a conversation with us, enjoy yourself here, make sure that you know these people who are suffering in the streets and read about them.
Ortega and Verdin continue to provide resources to homeless people in San Diego County and are developing a mobile laundry trailer. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
A cooler pattern sticking with us as we head through the next couple of days. So that means, yes, we will have the marine layer. It sticks around through Saturday. And then after that, we're going to start to bring some changes in the form of some warmer weather. Well, in San Diego, we are looking at those lows falling back to the mid-50s tonight. Escondido, 48 for your low. As you work your way towards Mount Laguna, 46 for the low there. Borrego Springs hanging in the mid-50s. Pretty quiet across the board. We will have the marine layer, though, as I mentioned, and you're already noting some of that offshore as we go into this evening and then continuing to kind of work its way on through as we head into tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning we'll start off with some of those clouds and then see a little bit more sunshine breakout once that marine layer wears off, as we so often do. Tomorrow, mid-60s for San Diego, 67 more specifically. Chula Vista coming in at 65. Might be a little harder to get rid of that marine layer a little farther towards the south, but overall looking pretty quiet, pretty dry across the area as we head into tomorrow. And then the weekend. Well, there is a lot going on as we head into Saturday with this high pressure system just kind of venturing off towards the north. Actually, that's an upper level high pressure system. This next kind of cutout low works its way back in and kind of squeezes into our area. And this is going to bring a few more changes once this departs or tries to depart a bit more as we go into Sunday. Notice the numbers here in the 60s as we go through Friday and Saturday. Then we jump into the 70s very fast, warming up for Sunday and Monday. And marine layer, that becomes a little bit more non-existent as the winds go offshore. Inland locations, you'll notice that big change too. We go from the mid-70s, 73 for Friday and Saturday, mid-80s on Sunday, so we'll be at 85 for the afternoon. And pushing our way into the mountains, we start off in the 50s and should manage to stay there. I don't think it has too much of an impact here the next couple of days with our temperatures there. But the deserts, you'll see that jump into the 90s as we head into Monday and Tuesday. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Melissa Constanzer.
Following a 13-month closure, Legoland California officially opened its doors this morning. Within the first hour, the park says hundreds of guests scanned their tickets. After a soft reopening over the last 2 weeks, today guests got to ride roller coasters for the first time in more than a year. They could also drive miniature cars, explore Miniland USA, and play with Lego bricks. Eric Portillo came from Orange County to visit Legoland with his extended family and celebrate his son Julian's third birthday.
Oh man, it means so much. We're here celebrating my son's birthday. It just means a lot to finally be able to enjoy some time at the amusement park. It's a lot of fun. We're just really excited to see the smiles on their face and their excitement, really.
Capacity is currently limited to 25% in the orange tier. Guests can purchase tickets and reserve their spots through Legoland California's new online reservation system. And tickets for Disneyland and California Adventure are now on sale ahead of the park's April 30th reopening. Reservations will be required, and only California residents in groups no larger than 3 households will be permitted inside. Attendance at both parks will be limited, and certain hotels, restaurants, and other attractions will be modified or unavailable. COVID-19 was tough on people, but great for dogs and cats. There were high adoption rates and owners spent a lot more time at home, but not all pets fared as well, and local animal advocates hope to keep them close to the spotlight. KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson has details.
A backpack-sized sulcata tortoise chomps on lettuce leaves at its Escondido home. The turtle, named Ninja, is surprisingly quick when the food supply moves.
They are the terrible twos, but as a creature.
The Ecovivarium's Shelly Oneida speaks lovingly of an animal that was about the size of a saucer when it first came here.
They have all the wide-eyed wonder of a little kid and all of the destructive power of a tank, all just in one. It's great.
Ninja lives at the Ecovivarium because the tortoise's owners were locked in a domestic dispute. Animal control came to Susan Nowicki, the founder and director of the Ecovivarium. She says reptiles didn't get the same pandemic boost as dogs and cats.
The opposite happened in the reptile world. Suddenly, people were looking, meeting difficult circumstances where they were not able to care for the animal anymore because of job loss and the cost of the food and care and everything for the animal, and no programs out there to supplement like there are for dogs and cats. So they were left with having to find homes.
The facility's population swelled from 200 to 300 during the pandemic. Nowicki says in one case, a local pet shop owner just walked away from his business, leaving dozens of reptiles homeless.
What do you do with hundreds of animals that need to be cared for the next 30 to 50 to 100 years?
The animals have homes here, but Nowicki pays a steep price, thousands in extra vet and food bills each month at the same time that COVID cut them off from people.
Visitation and our outreach programming and birthday parties and all of those kind of things were how we paid for the animal care. And all of that went away.
Having kids interact with the animals is only possible now in small groups, like the prearranged tour for the Alvarez family. Shelly Oneida is showing Levi the snake room.
The fun fact about these is they're very much like a USB. You put them in wrong like 4 times. Turtle. Turtle. This is Miss Piggy.
That in-person interaction is what Nowicki says makes the Ecovivarium unique. School groups used to be drawn to the up-close experience. It also helped to cultivate donors and people who might adopt some of the animals living here.
We do hands-on, full cross-curriculum education programs that COVID completely shut down, where the kids not only get to see the animals like they do at the zoo, they get to actually interact with them.
A local animal-friendly nonprofit hopes to help. The Animal Bond Academy produces YouTube videos that highlight some of the region's lesser-known animal rescue and advocacy groups.
Places like Penelope's Purpose that focused on pig rescue. We recently visited Libby Lou's in Boulevard, and they focus on cow rescue. So these are all animals that may not be on the forefront of people's minds, but we wanted to make sure that the Animal Bond Academy videos kept all of these organizations relevant.
The Academy's Annie Peterson says once she started explaining how different animal advocacy and rescue groups work, the list of future projects got longer quickly. People began reaching out to her.
I am still learning about new organizations, small organizations that I didn't know were in existence, new organizations that were planning on opening but didn't.
Nowicki says having the Animal Bond Academy video available is crucial to helping reestablish the Ecovivarium's contact with schools and the public.
They were able to see the people interacting with the animals and everything, and see the kids' eyes lighting up. And that is so impactful for somebody trying to figure out, is this a fit for my class, whether it's virtual or in person? Is it a fit? They see that and they understand exactly what we do.
Nowicki says anything that helps her organization's connection with the public will help her rebuild once the pandemic subsides. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, message to Moscow. The Biden administration imposes a new set of sanctions on Russia. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Here's another look at today's top stories. As of today, all Californians aged 16 and over are eligible for coronavirus vaccinations. Health officials are warning appointments may be hard to find and are asking for patience. Governor Newsom says half of Californians over 16 have already been vaccinated, but he says demand is still outpacing supply. And San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria today released his first budget proposal, totaling $4.6 billion in spending for the next fiscal year. Major cuts were avoided since the city received over $300 million in federal stimulus funds. The city council will vote on the budget in mid-June. Every Major League Baseball player wore the number 42 today in celebration of Jackie Robinson Day. April 15th, 1947, is when Robinson made his MLB debut with the Brooklyn Dodgers and broke the sports color barrier. The San Diego Padres tweeted a tribute saying, quote, "Jackie Robinson's legacy and impact spreads far beyond baseball. Thank you for everything, Jackie. Today is for you." The Padres beat the Pittsburgh Pirates today. Tomorrow, they'll be back at Petco Park for a six-game homestand, starting with the LA Dodgers. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you for joining us, and have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley. And by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.